Well, I came across something from the World Economic Forum that they wanted. The fact check thing says no, they never said that, but you can bet they sure implied it. The WEF wants to slaughter millions of pets and dogs to fight climate change. When I'm finished with this, I'll leave links to these things. You can go check them out yourself. But yeah, they don't want to actually come out and say, they can whisper this stuff, but no, this is how these kooks, these nitwits, the insane people think. So just hang on here, because we're going to get to something, because this led me from one thing to another. Now this, I think this came originally from CNN. Yeah. Back this up here. I won't get this in there. Yeah. Our pets are part of the climate problem. These tips can help you minimize the carbon paw print. Oh yeah. By Kimberly Richardson. CNN updated September 27, 2022. So there you go, about a year ago. Oh yeah. Our four-legged friends don't drive gas-guzzling SUVs or use energy-sucking appliances, but that doesn't mean they don't have a climate impact. In fact, researchers, of course these people that are paid to say this, have shown that pets play a significant role in a climate crisis. Okay, I'll put this in there too. Let's get to this, because I want to make sure I get this on film. You've got to understand the idiotic logic sometimes of people, and governments too. Now this is from the BBC, and they put this out, I think, 2013, hang on. Yeah, October 12th, 2013. I'm so glad that they did. This is it's going to be a wake-up call to a lot of people. I'm going to zoom in, people. You guys zoomed too much. Okay. Now, what this dog is being treated by a veterinarian, but many were put down at the outbreak of World War II. I'm going to zoom this in if I can. I hope I can. This is so hard to zoom this thing. At the beginning of World War II, a government pamphlet led to a massive call of British pets. As many as 750,000 British pets were killed in just 1 week. This little discussed moment of panic is explored in a new book. The call, that means they killed them, they came as a result of a public information campaign that caused an extraordinary reaction among the British. In the summer of 1939, before the outbreak of the war, the National Air Raid Precaution Animal Committee was formed. It drafted a notice of advice to animal owners. The pamphlet said, if all possibility, take your household animals into the country in advance of an emergency. It concluded, if you cannot place them in the care of a neighbor, it's really the kindest thing to have them destroyed. Now this here is an air raid pamphlet back then. Air raid precaution for animals. The standard instrument for humane destruction of domestic animals. Oh God. This advice was printed in almost every newspaper and announced on the BBC. It was a national tragedy in the making, said Claire Campbell, author of a new book, Bonzo's War, Animals Under Fire, 1939-1945. Campbell recalls the story of her uncle shortly after the invasion of Poland. It was announced on the radio there might be a shortage of food. My uncle announced the next day that pet would have to be destroyed the next day. After war was declared on the 3rd of September, pet owners thronged to vet surgeries and animal homes. Animal charities and all were all opposed to the killing of pets and were very concerned about people just dumping animals at the doorstep at the start of the war. Okay, many people contacted us after the outbreak of war to ask us to euthanize their pets, either because they were going off to war or they were being bombed or they could no longer afford to keep them during rationing. People with smarter brains advised taking such drastic measures. They asked them not to be too hasty. Bacamel cites Arthur Moss of the RSPC gloomily announced that the primary task of them would be the destruction of animals. In the first few days of the war, hospitals and dispensaries were overwhelmed by owners bringing their pets in for destruction. Our technical officers called upon to perform this unhappy duty will never forget the tragedy of those days. First bombing of London in September 40 prompted more pet owners to rush to have their pets destroyed. Many people panicked, but others tried to remain calm. Putting your pets to sleep is a very tragic decision. You don't take it, this is absolutely necessary. But the government pamphlet had sowed a powerful seed. Basically, people were told to kill their pets, and they did. They killed 750,000 of them in the space of a week. It was a real tragedy. Now stop and think for a minute. Because of this government pamphlet, people panicking, kind of reminded me of the pandemic. People panicked and rushed to basically euthanize themselves. Yep, it was just another way of signifying that the war had begun. It was one of those people had to do when the news came out. Evacuate the children, put up the blackout curtains, kill the cat. It was a lack of food, not bombs, that posed the biggest threat to wartime pets. There was no food ration for cats and dogs. Many owners were unable to do things. Pat Canton was just 5 years old at the time and lived in she lived in England. They would go to the black markets looking for horse meat to feed their family cat. In the middle of the pet calling mayhem, some people tried desperately to intervene. The Duchess of Hamilton, both wealthy and a cat lover, rushed from Scotland to London with their own statement to be broadcast. Homes in this country urgently required for these dogs and cats will have to be, they're either going to be starved or shot to death, so she opened up her own sanctuary. It was a heated Astrodome in Fern or something. The Duchess sent her staff out to rescue pets from the east end of London. Oh, wow. She apologized to her neighbors about complaining about the barking. Aw. But at such time and such uncertainty, many pet owners were swayed by the worst case scenario. Reminds me of the pandemic. People were worried about the threat of bombing and food shortages and felt it inappropriate to have the luxury of a pet during wartime. The story was not widely known because it was a difficult story to tell. It is well known that so many pets were killed because it isn't a nice story, but it doesn't fit the notion as us of a nation of animal lovers. People don't like to remember at the first signs of war, we went out to kill the pussycat. Yeah, this cat's waiting for the food to get cut up there. But it's something nobody wants to talk about. Would you? What if they'd have done that in the United States? Maybe some people did. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's something that we here should think about. Don't be rushed and don't get hasty and do something stupid just because somebody's saying, "Oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling." I think it's good, all of us here, excuse me, got to hear this. Don't be hasty. Don't rush into things. Don't think that you're being pushed into something you have to do. You do not have to do this. A little thing called, you don't have to comply. Like, I understand the shortage of food, how people must have thought back then. I could see them, taking their pets from the city and dropping them off, at farmhouses and stuff like that. But they can only take in so many. They can only feed so many. It's like I live out in the country. I get folks from the city coming out and dropping off their unwanted dogs all the time, and cats. Their dog gets pregnant or their cat's pregnant. Oh, well, just take them out to the farmers and drop them off out there. They'll feed them. That way, they feel good about themselves that they didn't kill the animal, and in the meantime, they're putting more weight on the shoulders of people who are just still trying to get by. Don't get a pet unless you can afford to keep it. Okay, people, like I said, this all started when I was looking at that World Economic Forum thing that they put out. And like I said, the fact checkers already just, "Oh no, we didn't say that. We didn't say that." Bullshit. You implied it. You damn right you implied it. Climate change. You dumb son of a bitches. No, we're not falling for it. At least most of us aren't. I mean, there's some nitwits in government that, "Oh yeah, we've got to embrace this thing," because they're too hasty. They jump at every damn thing. "Oh, we're going to save the world." Want to save the world? Keep your nose out of people's business. Thanks for watching.